Thursday, June 15th. Welcome back to the UBEC podcast, and thanks for tuning in. I'm Wild Will Walnuts, one half of the Unholy Brotherhood of the Electric Church. I'd like to take a second to thank everyone who has supported us so far on this project. Also, thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel and followed us on Facebook. Your support means a lot. And without further ado, the man that hates everything you love, the almighty and unholy apostle, D-Rock.
What's up? Been a while. We were taking a siesta. We were tired. We were tired, beaten down, just worn out. So we had to take a break. But we're fucking back, bitches. So get ready to get offended by the unholy one, the unholy motherfucking apostle. And you know what? Fuck you if you don't like that name, because I like it. And there's people on video games, because I use that shit everywhere now. And they're like, there were 12 disciples and this and that, and there's no unholy ones. And I said, well, I'm the 13th motherfucker, and I'm an unholy as they come. So go suck your mama's titty some more, you little bitch.
Yeah, but apostle isn't the same thing as a disciple.
How many? Yeah, there was a ton of apostles.
There was a
Anybody
bunch.
could be an
Yeah,
apostle.
there was a lot of apostles, but there were only 12 disciples.
Yeah, so what the fuck? He didn't even know what he's talking about. So that's sacrilegious, in my opinion. I didn't know it either at the time. I mean, I didn't put two and two together. Like, I'm sitting there trying to hit a ball on a video game, not worrying about what some little fucking teenager is like talking to me about, you know?
You know, a lot of people don't know this about me, but I know that because when I was growing up, we went through rigorous youth groups. We went to church. We lived at the church. Right now, I'm not kidding you. June 15, right now, I'd be getting ready to go to church camp, and it'd be overnight for like a week and a half, sometimes 2 weeks. And one summer, I went to two different church camps twice. So, like, literally, I was at church camp for a month that entire summer.
So is that your parents trying to get you some education in the Lord, or is that them just getting rid of you and being like,
It was a little bit of both. They were definitely trying to get rid of me and keep me busy for the summer once school let out. But then at these camps, like the one camp was badass. It had like one of those rock walls and like uh American Ninja course sort of thing that we could go through. And of course they took you out kayaking and fishing and we shot bows and so yeah, they were trying to learn me some shit and then they also wanted to get rid of me for the summer.
so it wasn't like a Catholic church either, so you didn't really have to worry about anything.
No, it wasn't a Catholic church, but the one church we literally slept outside in canvas tents for a week and a half. The other one was like a dormitory, but dude, it was the middle of fucking summer, hot as shit, hot ass Maryland, humid summer. We were sleeping in white canvas tents and like bunk beds outside. It was crazy, man.
Yeah, but at least you didn't have to worry about Father Joe Biden coming by and sniffing your hair, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah, it wasn't like that. No, it wasn't like the kids my age had to deal with. The ones that went to Catholic church camp, they had a rough time. Yeah.
Yeah. They get you a chocolate chip ice cream cone if you just kept your mouth shut and didn't tell anybody.
And he's got hairy legs.
They were just rubbing on my legs. How did, like, we went through an entire election cycle, and like, remember 20 what was it, 2016? It's like grab her by the pussy, and that was like the most offensive thing ever. But then we just like ignored, like, I had little black kids just rubbing my legs, and
It was bullshit, man.
my wiener was standing up, you know.
Oh, it was
And we just
terrible.
ignored that. It's like, let's ignore your son's a meth head, you know. And sold, or he didn't even sell the laptop. He lost it in pawn. Like, he hawked, or no, he went to get it repaired and never went and got it back.
Yeah.
And you know, and isn't it funny? And I'm not going to get too far on this topic, but I know we cover the weekly news and everything, and no one can miss what happened this week with Trump getting indicted. But isn't it funny that the day that they released news about Joe Biden really getting, you know, they're bribing the big guy, you know, that was a real factual story, the day that that news broke is the same day that they indict Trump.
Yeah, it's pretty coincidental, isn't it?
Yeah, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
So, you know, but that's been my life. You know, I'm just finding shit to get pissed off about, I guess. You know, like the fucking government, or, you know, shitty drivers. I've still been getting pissed off about that. They haven't been quite as bad, which is traffic's been bad. The drivers, I'm sure, have been bad, but not like in my direct path. So I've won some little small victories there. I'll tell you what, I just did it. That's been something that's been pissing me off is people that say and can't spit it out. Like they call you and it's like, yeah, how can I help you? And they're like, yeah, I was at the place. And I'm like, fucking spit it out, dude. Like you didn't have any kind of like prerequisites running in your brain. Like you weren't already, that's how I do before I call someone. Like I kind of have a plan of how the conversation's going to go. Like I know what I'm going to say. So I'm ready whenever the phone call happens.
Right.
It's like they answer surprised. Like they're calling you and you answer and they're surprised. Like, hello? That's yeah. It's like I'm the one trying to fucking glue this conversation together, dude. And you're just over there stumbling on your fucking ABCs and shit.
Yeah, and I do know what you mean because that kind of gets on my nerves too. We had a guy that when we would have conference calls, that's all the conference call was. It was just uh and okay, we're gonna let me see. I mean the whole time. And I'm one to talk because I know I say and a lot too, but he was way worse than me. He was like me on steroids.
It's a little different though when you're in conversation and you're kind of like, yeah, that we were talking about the spaceships on Mars, and I've seen this. Like when you're doing it like that, it's kind of more of a natch. But when you're sitting there and you're like, yeah, let me find it. It's the one thing, we the thing we were talking about last Tuesday. It's like, motherfucker, I don't remember what I had for dinner last night, like let alone what happened last Tuesday.
Yeah.
And it's always like, and I'm not trying to be like classist here, but it's always like, especially like when you're in management and shit, it's always someone that is like more of like an hourly worker or non-management, like because they just have time to fuck off with details, like you know what I'm saying? Like they don't need to consider details or information.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
So it's like maybe it is classist, and maybe I should just shut the fuck up. I'm sure I'm going to get dragged on YouTube if I make a short about it, but I really don't give a fuck. If you say too much and you can't figure out what the fuck you're saying when you call me, go fuck yourself. Or like text, like people when they text. You ever get that person that text you and to be like, "Hey," and it's like, "Hey man, what's up?" And it's like 4 hours later. What are you doing? About to go to bed. What are you doing? And then it's like the next fucking day at lunchtime. Not much, just hanging out, like, and it's like something random. It's like, and then what about last Tuesday? Did you get that thing? And it's like, okay, it's the same people.
Yeah.
Or like my kids do this, but there's people that I work with that do it, and people that I've worked with in the past. It's like I'll ask something to be done, or I'll text like, "Hey, can you do this, this, and this?" No response, and it's like I'm an asshole, so I'll text back and I'll be like, "Can I get confirmation that you're going to do what I asked?" And then it'll be like a yes. Like, and I know when they're sending that yes, they're fucking jamming their fucking fingers in that screen. They probably text out because sometimes I'll see it and it's like the little dots are just going and going and going and going. It's like they're typing a
Yeah,
book. Like, you motherfucker, you can go
you
eat a
know
dick.
that. Yeah, you know that. They're typing an essay, man. They're typing it out and then they're deleting it and then typing more, then deleting it.
And it's not like, hey, I need you to take the trash out. It's like it's normally when I send like a series of requests, but I want to make sure that you understand everything. And it's like it just goes by like there's no yes, sure, you need anything, like no fucking like half the time if it's someone like on an iPhone, it's not even opened. So it's like I'm sitting here on delivered. Did you get it? So I'll give it about 15 minutes. And then I text back like, can I get confirmation? Oh yeah, I forgot. You forgot. You forgot to even open the fucking message. Like I do that too. Like I won't always open a message. I'll look at it on my phone and be like, oh, I'll get back, and then I'll forget about it, and it's 2 days later. So I'm just as guilty as everybody else.
Yeah, you're pretty bad. Or you can be pretty bad sometimes.
But when people do it to me, go fuck yourself.
I don't I won't someone like you because I know your schedule and I know your workload and life load. I wouldn't hold it against you. You know what I mean? But somebody that doesn't have much going on, it's like, come on, dude. You know, text me back. Let me know what the fuck's going on here.
Yeah, like what are we doing here?
Right.
Especially, but like for me, mainly it's like it's the work issues or like my kids because they're normally targeted requests. Like I need them to get done, and I need to know that they're getting done.
Right.
It's like normally like with my daughter, it's like, hey, make sure the dog's in the cage. We're almost home. And it's like, I don't want to come up with a fucking, you know, a whole handful of groceries, open the door, and the dog's just sitting there like, hey, what are you doing? I'm trying to get outside. It's no, I don't. So I need confirmation. Like, you know,
Let me know that you did what I asked you to do,
are you still going to
please.
meet me tomorrow at 8 o'clock in the morning? Or am I going to drive there and have to fucking wait 2 hours? Like, I try to be decent about that. Or if I am running later in the morning or if I get tied up with something else, I try to be courteous. It's like, I need to be there at 8. It's 7 o'clock. Be like, I'll send a quick text. Hey, I've got tied up with some other shit, you know. But then there's people. It's like, yeah, meet me there tomorrow at 5, and it's like nothing, silence, just radio silence. So get the fuck over yourself, dude. People that drive Teslas, they've been pissing me off too. They act like they own the goddamn road. Have you been noticing that? It's been a more recent trend.
People that drive Teslas?
Yeah,
Um, no, I haven't noticed that, but I'm not on the road as much as you are, so
maybe it's not so much in residential. I don't, because you don't really see them in residential. I don't, at least. I see them more on the highway, but they'll just merge. Like they'll merge, and they got all that. Like there's no resistance there, so they go from 0 to 60 in like a second.
right.
The dumb motherfuckers are still doing 45, and they'll just cut into the highway. You're doing 70, 75, and it's like bam, right there. And it's like, okay, let me slam my brakes. Or they'll just fucking get over like without even signaling. They won't even signal that they're getting into your lane. It's just Tesla owners, mainly people that drive white Teslas.
I feel like I do see a lot of white Teslas around. I do see that.
They're just arrogant pricks, and they're wearing shirts like mine, but they're thinner, and they're like you can tell they just came from playing tennis or something at the high school tennis court.
Golf,
Yeah, golf. Yeah, something like that, like yuppie sports, like golf, tennis,
racquetball,
pickleball.
pickleball.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
those
not.
fucking
They're not fucking cornhole throwing guys. They're driving fucking F-150s and drinking diesel fuel.
Hey, speaking of cornhole, we had a pretty good cookout that I doubt the viewers found knew about. We had a nice little Memorial Day shindig, didn't we?
Yeah, cook some brisket, man. That brisket was expertly cut, by a famous meat man, and it was delicious. I think I cooked it. It could have
Yeah,
went a little longer, but
I should have went home with some of that because that was some good shit.
yeah, we didn't. I think we threw maybe like a end piece away, but the rest of it got eaten. The kids ate it, and then, dude, when I get in like smoking mode, it's like nonstop. I cooked fucking chicken the next day, chicken sausage. I grilled something else the one day. I don't know. It was Memorial Day weekend. I was just drinking beer and cooking. So that's what I'm doing. Like tomorrow, we're having a party on Saturday. I'm cooking hamburgers and hot dogs, normal shit for that, but I'm doing a pork butt too on Friday just to make sure that I have enough. I always worry about if I'm going to have enough. You know how I am. If
Yeah.
I'm going to have enough food. What about them beans though? Tell people about them beans. They burn your ass off,
Oh
didn't
my
they?
God, they were spicy as shit. They were good though. I mean, there's a, with some people when it comes to spicy stuff, they just want it to be as hot as hell, to the point where it's so hot it numbs your mouth. Me, I want it to be spicy, but I still want it to have flavor. I want it to taste like something good. They were hot and they tasted good. Those beans were kick ass.
They were kind of sneaky, like with the heat too. Like it wasn't like something that as soon as it hit your mouth,
Yeah.
it was burning the shit out of it. It was like you chew them and it's like, yeah, it's coming.
Because it was a sweet spicy. That first bite, it was sweet, and then afterwards, you're like, oh wait, hold up, man, he's got some kick to it. Shit.
That was and I wouldn't even say that's a credit to the brown sugar. I think I put pineapples in it and pineapple
Yeah,
juice.
I could taste the pineapples for sure. I figured it was something like that.
I thought it was so weird. Like when I was looking at the recipe, I'm like, pineapples and fucking beans. And I was like, well, I'll try it and we'll see how it goes. And I was like, oh, it's actually pretty good. It helps balance the heat, like really does.
And that ghost pepper ketchup, man, I can't find that at Wise.
If I see it again, I'll pick some up for you.
Yeah, if you do, that'd be great. Where'd you get it at? Sam's?
I got that at Walmart. I want to say I seen it because they have, and normally Wise is like the one that has that shit, like the weird, like trendy or like the stuff that you wouldn't see at like a grocery store like Walmart or
Yeah,
like
they
at a store.
do.
But yeah, Walmart was where I found it. They had some other kind too, like a sriracha ketchup, some other different ketchups, and I seen that and I was like, they had a jalapeno one, and then I seen the ghost pepper ketchup, and I was like, hell yeah.
I'll tell you what, Wise has like off the top of my head, from what I can think of, like 15 different kinds of ranch, maybe more, man. Like ranch dressing or ranch dip. We got like six different kinds of ranch in the produce department. Then there's the regular ranch in the condiment aisle. Then in the dairy section, there's all the ranch dips, which I still call that ranch too. And I swear to God, altogether it adds up to like 12, 15
Yeah,
different kinds.
that ranch in the shelf stable aisle, the condiment aisle, that shit's peasant ranch. I don't use that.
That's what I use.
I get that the lighthouse ranch.
You get that shit when it's in the cold case, where
Yeah.
you got to buy it cold and keep it cold.
Yeah, I get
Uh,
that $5 ranch, that ranch.
Us peasants, we get the store temperature condiments.
Yeah, I get that cold ranch. That's a hitter, man. I'm telling you. That shit. You've had it before, haven't you? Like
Fuck
some
no, I don't
Marie's or
need that,
something?
dude. I don't need that bougie shit, man. I'm in
Yeah.
there getting the fucking Wise brand, straight up
Oh
room
man.
temperature shit. I kid you not. Fuck it, hold on. I got a bottle of it right in here. I kid.
He's going to get his ranch. Motherfucker just disappeared from the podcast to go get his ranch. He's got to prove it that he's got that shitty that little peasant ranch.
This one's kind of used, and then this one right here. That's
That classic. Oh, they changed the label up. Changing the label on the Wise brand. Man, I'll do Wise brand. Like I'll do like off brand ketchup, mustard, mayonnaise is okay. I prefer Duke's mayonnaise, but yeah, that off brand shit, it's not for me.
fuck Hidden Valley.
Fuck Hidden Valley. Hidden Valley's disgusting too. Unless you get the shit that you make like that powder, or you get you some like buttermilk and you mix that shit up. But it makes a lot. That's the only issue with me. It's like, and you got it only keeps for like 7 days or so. But yeah, the Hidden Valley, like fuck all them ranches. You get the cold shit, the Lighthouse Ranch, the Marie's Ranch.
That is so fucking bougie, dude. You in that fucking shirt, you look like you should be living in a condo in Frederick County or Montgomery County,
Driving a
eating
white Tesla.
eating your yeah, driving a white Tesla, eating your fucking bougie cold case ranch, man.
Dude, we eat that shit like, and for as expensive as it is too, like we make some pizza rolls in the oven. We use that ranch, but that's the only ranch I have in the house. It's just
Hey, tell your wife. I know that sounds weird. I don't want to say her name on this. Tell your wife those fucking banana peppers were awesome, man.
were they banana? They weren't banana peppers. Those
The
were like
yellow peppers?
they were baby sweet peppers.
No, 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 no. She gave me a jar of
Oh, that's
sliced.
right. Yeah.
It was like a big jar, and I forgot about it. I left it in the car that night, but the next morning, dude, I've been putting that shit on everything: pizza, chicken wraps, fucking. I love that fucking shit.
Anytime you can eat some more, man, let me know. Her work gets a discount. I'll pick it up for you. Like
Yeah,
she gets a discount, so
tell her I said thank you. I didn't get a chance. She just kind of like, hey, do you want these? And I was like, huh? I was like, sure. I didn't really get a chance to tell her thank you, but they were good.
they got all kinds of weird shit out there, dude. They got like pickled green beans, like spicy pineapple and pickles. It's some weird shit. Like there's some shit I'm not brave enough to really try. Even with pickles, like I'm the same way with pickles as I am with ranch. I don't buy the pickles out of the shelf stable aisle. I get them refrigerated pickles.
Are you fucking kidding me, man?
Never hot pickles, always cold. Like they're the best, dude. They still got that crunch. But pickles are a new thing to me anyway. Like I just started eating them in like the last year or two.
Yeah, I just in the last like few months realized that people pickle carrots. Have you seen pickled carrot sticks like
That shit looks
pickles?
so gross.
I've never had it, but I've seen it up there.
Pickled carrot chips, and they put like it's like carrot chips, cauliflower, all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, I've seen the cauliflower too. I think that's like a Pennsylvania Dutch thing, man. I think that's they. I think they just pickle everything.
What about them pickled eggs? Ugh, that
Oh,
shit.
I love
Oh
pickled
my god,
eggs.
dude, I can't even
Yeah,
fuck with you
yeah.
anymore. That shit's
Oh
so
yeah,
gross.
dude. I like pickled eggs, pickled jalapenos. Fucking, I love all that shit, man.
I ask at restaurants when I go out to eat, like
Oh,
if
you
they
want
have a burger.
fresh jalapenos.
Yeah.
You don't want pickled. I know. Don't you remember when you told us about the cheeseburger that was the best one you ever had? I gotta have fresh jalapenos. I don't want any of that pickled shit. If you got pickled jarred pepperonis, it's beneath me. They're so disgusting.
They are disgusting. I can't help that I got fucking taste, dude. That I'm a connoisseur of food. Look at I mean, I'm losing it, but I still got some titties in the belly.
Dude, I am a bougie motherfucker, man. You know what? During COVID, I made more money than I've ever seen in my fucking life, and I still drank bottom shelf whiskey, bottom shelf beer, and smoked the cheapest cigarettes you could buy. And guess what? Still do, motherfucker.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I'm middle of
You're
the line
fucking
with beer.
bougie. Yeah,
I'm
you're
middle of the
fucking
line with beer
bougie.
though. Like beer, I'll drink. Bud
You
Light's
drink
not the most expensive, but it's
you
not the
drink that
cheapest.
fucking Dylan Mulvaney juice.
Who cares? We went to this place last night though when we were out. I don't know if I told you there's a retirement party for someone that she works with, and it's called Attaboy Brewery.
I've heard of it.
It's out in Frederick, and they had this. It was called Backyard Queen or something like that, but it was a light, like it's a lager or something.
Yeah.
And I drank like 5 of those, dude. They were good. I was like, holy shit. And then I was like, they got 4 packs in their fridge. I was like, how much is that? She's like 16.99. And I'm like, yeah. I was like, maybe we'll come back and get some for the weekend. We're walking out, and I was like, I'm not spending 16 fucking dollars for 4 beers.
Oh my god. Oh, that is insane.
I mean, they're 16 ounces, but if I want, I can get a 6 pack of 16 ounces for like $8 of Bud Light or something.
Those goddamn IPAs and the craft beers, it's almost like that people that drink them feel like the more they pay, the better. Oh, I paid $30 for 2 beers. It's the best IPA I've ever had. Tastes like dog shit, man. You're just trying to justify why you overpaid for 2 beers.
Beer's turning into wine. It's ridiculous how
Yeah.
expensive it gets, and it's like they're beer snobs. It's like,
Yep.
dude, on a hot fucking summer day, you want a light, like Coors Light, Bud Light, Milwaukee's Best Light, like whatever it is, but a nice light beer. You just want
Yeah.
something that crisp, almost like water. Like when people say Bud Light's like water, well, that's the fucking meaning of it. It's the point. You don't want something overpowering. I don't want to drink an American fucking lager. I don't want a Yingling Black and Tan after I sweat my ass off mowing the grass. It's
Yeah.
not refreshing. It hurts your stomach.
You're right. Yeah. You're right.
I want something that I can drink about 30 of and not get too shitbag wasted,
Yep.
and I can function. If I
I'll
drink
tell
12 Yingling lagers, I'm going to be fucked.
you know what my after mowing go to beer was?
What's that?
Fucking Corona Light, man.
That's a good beer. They're on the pricey end, but I do like it.
They are pricey, but I'll tell you what, after you get done mowing on that hot day, and especially you got the lime, you get that ice cold Corona in that bottle. Oh man, it's refreshing.
You feel like a Mexican.
I didn't even think about that actually, but
You just
I
got done mowing that grass and you're like, yeah.
that's really funny though. I just thought about that after you said it. I wasn't even thinking that, but you're right.
And just for everybody listening that, has tight buttholes and everything, uh, that's not a dig at Mexicans. They're some of the hardest working motherfuckers I've ever seen.
They're
Anyone that goes
awesome.
out in 100-degree weather and mows fucking grass and flannel, it's hats off to them. And them motherfuckers, they spend all their money and send it back home. Props
Yep.
to them. They're some
Yep.
hardworking bastards, dude. So if you see a Mexican out there sweating, actually, they don't really sweat even wearing that flannel. I don't know what the deal is, but get them a nice cold Corona. They'll thank you.
Yeah, that's one thing I can't get on the bandwagon with is I just think most of the Spanish Hispanics that I've seen, they're hardworking people trying to raise a family. And who do you know that takes, sometimes a third of their paycheck and gives it to their family, your mom and dad raised you, or your grandmother, whoever raised you, most people won't even give them a penny. You know what I mean? Not even a
Yeah.
penny.
Well, and think of the like. This is what I think. Like they think that and in their eyes, we sit here and bitch about America and everything, and so do other people in different forms and fashions. Some on the left, some on the right, but we all have an issue with it. They're so happy and they
Yeah.
brave so much. Like even the illegals, like people are like, well, let's the ones that are hardworking come here the right way, dude. Give the illegals some fucking props too. It's not an easy journey to get here illegally.
No, it's not.
So and the ones that like the criminals that are coming in and the gang members, they're coming in, the cartel's paying the way. They've got an easier trip than the families of migrants that are trying to escape poverty and the gangs that are there with them, taking advantage of it. No, that's not the same illegals. That's what I don't like about the conservative side about it is they just class them all together. Oh, they're criminals, but it's like, okay, what about those two kids that died in the Rio del Grande, whatever it is? I'm American, I can't say that shit.
Yeah, that's the real cute part is the cartel, they come and go as they want to. They have ways to get over and they don't worry about it at all, you know? That's what I don't think it's cartels and shit coming across the border. It could be MS-13, and small, factions of cartels, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's
The
I don't
cartels have an easy way in. It's three letters. You know what it is?
what.
C, I, and A.
Now that's rude.
That's the largest cartel in the history of the world.
Yeah, no shit.
La Coca Nostra, motherfucker. Fucking Contra and all that. So we've been on this news kick and talking about all that. So what's new in the world, since the last time we spoke?
Well, I have some really good news articles. Some of them are a lot older. Some of these articles I grabbed for podcasts that we were planning to do but never did. So forgive me if a few of these are older. For those of you that are listening that are from the same area that we are, which I think is probably more, I think is a lot of you. Uh, Dan's Restaurant and Tap House has officially closed in Boonesboro, Maryland, and their reason for it is citing because of legal costs. So, um, for those of you that don't know the story, um, and what's going on, Dan's Restaurant and Tap House, which is the subject of a pair of discrimination lawsuits, announced on Facebook it will close at the end of the week. Now, it's already been closed, so this is an older article, like I said. In making the announcement with a mix of sadness and frustration, the restaurant at St. Paul and Main Street in Boonesboro said in its post it's facing unforeseen legal and financial challenges and must close on June 3rd. The weight of unjust accusations and mounting legal costs have taken a toll on our ability to continue operating. Despite our unwavering dedication to creating inclusive and welcoming environment for all, we have been unjustly targeted, the post states. And this was the post that I think this is one of the owners. Um, what type of problem is the restaurant facing? A Washington County resident is suing the business for more than 800,000, claiming he was barred from it for being white and old. Now, this is one of the big problems with it. Is they're saying that this was a discrimination thing and it was a race thing, and then Dan's kind of took that and ran with it there afterwards. Like then they started having like drag queen brunches in there and started hanging LGBT rainbow flags, which doesn't have anything with this to do with this guy, but I'll go ahead and keep going with the article. I mean, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
are you
yeah. Well,
in
like it's Charlotte's her name. That
Charlotte?
Dan's ex-wife. They're divorced now,
Right.
and Dan is the son of Nora Roberts, the author from this area. Well, she's not from this area. She's more of a transplant. She's done a lot of good, and for the most part, their businesses have been a blessing to the area. But I think when she started getting her hands in, and maybe when they got divorced, it's more of like a 50-50 thing. And she starts putting up, and they don't talk about, they may talk about it in the article. I don't know. I'm not going to quote something I haven't read, but even prior to this, like in 2020, there was the billboards downtown and everything. They would put up a BLM, the pride stuff, and it's like stoking the fire of something that's already just like, it's not for a business to really, like, I still drink Bud Light. Everybody knows my opinion at this point. I think about it, like I could give a fuck less either way. But when they're putting a target on themselves. Like you're attracting people that are going to take issue with something, and something along the way is going to happen, and it did with a lawsuit. You're
Right.
putting that target of, we're woke and we're going to do whatever we want, we're going to push buttons, and it's that loud Democrat thing, it's that loud liberal. They just feel like they need to be in your face about every fucking issue.
Yep, that loud in your face entitled attitude, man.
And that's how they've gotten elections, in my opinion. Even they know how to mobilize. Like
Yeah.
Democrats and liberals, like most Republicans or conservatives or whatever, like right of center, most of us just don't give a fuck. We don't want the government in our lives. We don't want our neighbor being able to call in, the secret police on us. A lot of us just want to keep to our own and, have friendly existences with everybody. Like I don't have a fucking problem with gay, trans, whatever. I don't care. Like do whatever's
Absolutely.
happy for you, but I don't need you to broadcast it everywhere. And let's quit acting like it's a huge portion of the population. And we're acting like the 90% of the Americans are being discriminated against because they're transsexual. 90% of Americans aren't transsexual. It's like 1% or less than 1%. It's fucking pandering to the leftist base because they're the loudest. The loudest wheel gets the grease.
But do you think that this is an example of go woke or go woke and go broke? Do you think that's what's going on here?
Well, she's pretty much like, when this first started, she was shooting the shit down, like acting like it wasn't a big deal.
Yeah.
So seems like it's a pretty fucking big deal now. You had to close your business. I mean, so
Yeah.
I think it's somewhat of an example of that. Yeah, go woke, go broke. But I mean, their bartender, even like she made so many posts. Like if you go through her shit now, she's either got it locked down or she's deleted a lot of her shit where she was calling, you're in a court battle now. Like when he filed those charges, you should have shut up. But you go on and make posts like he's demeaning us and this and that, and then you have your employees going on Facebook and shit, posting shit publicly about, yeah, old white guys, rich old white guys. And like he was disgruntled, he was upset because his food was taking too long. And I think they like, I don't even, because they recorded some of it, he wasn't being like a total asshole. He owns a business here as well, the guy that's suing.
Right.
So I mean, he understands business and how it operates, and if he feels he was truly being discriminated against, he's got video proof, he's got evidence. I don't know if you can make a clear cut. That's why I don't even like this though, because you start getting into the court of opinion.
Court of public opinion.
Not even public, like you're asking a judge to rule on opinion. Like it's like hate crimes. Like discrimination is almost like hate crime at this point, because you can discriminate against anybody for any reason. Like you discriminated against me because I self-identify as a Native American, even though I've got less Pocahontas in me than Elizabeth Warren, but I can say that I'm Native American. And if you discriminate against me, it's like I can just throw that out there that you're discriminating. You know what I'm saying? You kind of get my
Yeah.
drift.
Yeah, definitely. I hear what you're saying.
So I don't like that fact or that part of it either, but they've opened it up. Like cancel culture altogether was something that was started by the left. And now when they start getting a taste of their own medicine, they don't
They don't
like it.
like it. Nah, they don't like it.
And I mean, Bud Light, they've seen it. Look at their sales, the way their sales declined. Target, they've seen it with their sales decline. I think it's all silly and it's over. It's like hyperbole, but you know, don't do this shit. Like just do your business, sell your goods, and keep out of social and political issues. Unless it's
Yeah.
something like that is rampant. I mean, if you've seen some dude getting beaten by the police officer, you know, and he was visibly restrained, like they got him, like they Rodney Kinged his ass. Maybe then that's something to speak up about. But like when someone in Minneapolis has enough drugs to kill almost any adult male, and now you have a man sitting in prison because he died. That's, to me, it's not the same issue.
No, I don't think so either.
And it's okay to, burn your cities down. It's not the same issue. And the left has a point with that too. People on the right calling Target and death threats to employees and telling people they're going to burn the Targets down and shit like that. It's silly because they sold a fucking rainbow. Like, get over yourself. If it bothers you that much, like, that's my issue. Like, if something bothers you that much that you have to act a fool about it, maybe you should evaluate yourself. I have my opinions and I get a little goofy on here, but nothing really bothers me to that extent where I'm not going to call up the National Zoo and be like, hey, get rid of them fucking pandas or I'm going to come in and slice every one of them up.
Here we go with the pandas. Have you had any activity from our anti Dustin committee or whatever it's called? Pandas Against Dustin, PAD.
Yeah, Pad. Yeah, I think I sent some of them to you, but I'm not ready to release that out in the wild yet. We're still trying to get Cody the Panda on here, so I think you've been still working on that. That might have been part of your hiatus. Didn't you travel to the far reaches of China trying to find fucking Cody the Panda?
Yeah, I was cutting through the bamboo patches in southeast China looking for this elusive panda named Cody, and we may have found him.
I mean, he's still been sending me some fucked up messages, but yeah, I'm not ready to disclose, or I don't want to give, and I don't, maybe the Dan's Tap House thing, we shouldn't give these stories light, but maybe we will, because Cody the Panda's, he's coming at me, bro.
Well, I got a story I do want to give light on. Okay. And this is from the Real Rated Red. The title of this: The Red Cross is urging players to stop committing war crimes in video games. And this is an interesting one. So, the Red Cross wants gamers who play first person shooter games to follow real world rules of war through their new Play by the Rules initiative. It goes on to say they hope to make players aware of the laws that govern war and promote fairness in the game. Some guidelines include not shooting defenseless enemies, avoiding harm to innocent characters and buildings, and sharing medical supplies with everyone. Popular games like Fortnite and Arma 3 are part of this initiative. The goal is to teach players about the Geneva Conventions without spoiling the fun of the game. Do you think this will help? And Dustin, what do you think of this? So the the photo that goes along with this article, it looks like a Halo 3, a screenshot from a Halo 3 multiplayer match, and this red Spartan is teabagging a blue Spartan. It's clearly obvious what's going on here. So, what do you think of this? What's your opinion of this article and what's going on here with the Red Cross?
I haven't played much of Halo, but just your description of that and what I've seen of Halo, isn't that one of like the more photo unrealistic games? Like, as far as war is concerned, there's not much blood. They're wearing red and blue armor and shit like that. Like,
Yeah, so it's set in a futuristic, like 250 years from now, and most of the enemies that you're taking out are aliens. So and there, yeah, like you said, I don't think there's any blood. It's mostly like green goo and shit like that.
yeah.
So
And even a game like Doom, like, how realistic is it that you're fighting against demons? So you're going to follow the rules of war when you're fighting Hell's Legion.
and it's funny you mentioned that. And here's another question I have for you. So you're familiar with the Lethal Weapon, or no? What's the movie with Bruce Willis?
Die Hard.
Uh, Die Hard. So everybody's like, "Is Die Hard a Christmas movie?" It's a big debate every time December comes around. So now the debate online that I've seen is Doom a Christian game? Like that's what people are wondering. Can Doom be considered a Christian genre game?
People just worry about shit too much, dude. Like, should it just play the fucking game? I mean, you're killing. Maybe you're working for God's or army. You're killing demons. It's
Yeah.
hell on Mars and hell on Earth, and so maybe I guess if you want to look at it that way, you
Well,
could.
it centers around you taking out these demons that mankind has opened a portal to bring them over to us, through Mars. So it's kind of like combating good and evil, like our evil scientists wanted demons to rule the earth like Satan, and then we're the lone hero like Jesus Christ, walking the earth or Mars or wherever, just exterminating all evil and all demons.
See, if I were the game developers, I'd do something fucked up and I'd have like the final game that they do, like your boss level, have it be like Gabriel or Michael or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
Like
Have
rather than being Satan, it's like Michael the archangel, the pretty much the protector of humankind is
right.
the demon, like the main demon. You have to battle him. But no, I think that's stupid. Like you're gonna like Call of Duty. They're fake fucking characters. Like so if you want to follow the rules of war and the Geneva Conventions, give up your shotguns because technically shotguns are only breach weapons. You can only use those to breach doors and things like that. So don't use the shotgun. A 50 caliber rifle, I believe, is meant more for armor and things of that nature. Any kind of mechanized infantry, you're not technically supposed to shoot people with them. I may be wrong there, but I mean, the grand scheme of things, there are a lot of things that are against the Geneva Convention and the rules of war. I think the Red Cross needs to shut the fuck up and stick to their lane and save lives instead of pocketing 90 cents on a dollar and only giving the 10 cents to the refugees and shit. Maybe
What if
people should start looking at that.
what if all the new first person shooters games that come out have a Geneva setting on it, where if you turn the Geneva setting on it, you can't use shotguns, you can't use explosive devices or
It
whatever.
wouldn't even be that. That's going to be their way to trap people. It's like you turn the Geneva Conventions on and you can still use those weapons for their intended purposes. But then, like, say you nuke fucking Sudan or something, the fucking FBI like beats down your door and raids you and kills you on your live stream or something, like on your Twitch live stream. How fucked up would that be? That's like
That'd be pretty
saying
fucked up.
that's like saying Rocket League players should like have girl players, like or not like girl like I don't know what I'm trying to say there, but like it should follow the rules of soccer more. Like have kickoffs and like not kickoffs, but like the penalty book.
Penalties, yeah.
Yeah. It's like no, you're playing fucking soccer with cars. It doesn't relate. Like it's a fictitious game. Come on now. And
Yeah.
the rules of war go out the window when you're in battle. I mean, I don't care what country you are. We nuked two fucking cities. Like we just decimated. How many civilians did we kill?
It was a lot.
Like we just said, "Fuck you. We're done with this war. We're trying to end it." What about the napalm? What about Agent Orange? What about all this shit? What about the shit that we do still to this day, like
Cla-
Guantanamo and all that?
What about cloud seeding in Cambodia?
Yeah. What about Project Saturn? Or what is it?
The Saturn moon matrix, dude. That would be, yeah. Let's talk about that. Can you explain what it is? The Saturn, I can give you a introduction. So, for those of you that don't know, the Saturn moon matrix is a theory that I believe was created by David Icke out of Great Britain. And go ahead, Dustin. Can you read some professional terms so I don't sound like an idiot explaining this?
Well, this isn't the David Icke one. This is something else.
Well, he might not have created it, but he's the one talking a lot about it.
Yeah, this is let's see here. Because I don't know much about it. Like I guess it popped up while we were discussing our news articles, and I just think it's interesting. According to David Talbot, the author of the Saturn myth, which was published in 1980, at some point throughout the planet's existence, there was a huge ejection of debris caused by an explosive occurrence that formed a luminous crescent reflecting light. Since then, the crescent symbol has been adopted by as a representation of Saturn. See, it's not going along with anything. That's kind of why I said like,
No, it's almost like Google doesn't want you. It's like flat Earth. Google doesn't want you to learn anything about it.
here's this one though. I got another one. This post is taken from David Icke's book. Remember who you are. Remember where you are and where you came from. It says, if you have a preconceived idea of the world, you edit information. When it leads you down a certain road, you don't challenge your own beliefs, which is the truth. What the fuck, man? It's like Saturn, Lord of the Rings, the reptile. Oh, this is where it gets weird for me. And like the fact that you're like, oh, he's normally on to some stuff is like, you don't, well, fucking, you get tired of the aliens and shit. But right here, the reptilian alliance's modus operandi is to first trigger cataclysmic events on a target world or solar system, wipe away the society that was there before. And that's, I think that's where like his theory is Saturn is like an operating base, or it's just a satellite, like an artificial structure to
Yeah.
influence, like I guess to mess with beta waves and all that, and influence human behavior,
Yep.
or as a satellite for the reptilians, I guess at this point now that I'm looking at it, which is fucking batshit crazy. I don't know. Who knows, man? Who fucking knows?
And then they're also saying that our moon is fake. Like our moon is fake, and our moon is able to project, I guess, like you said, frequencies that messes with our brain waves and makes us depressed or makes us happy. Like whoever or whatever from Jupiter or is using Jupiter to almost create a matrix simulation.
Saturn or Jupiter? Saturn, right?
Saturn.
Yeah.
I Saturn. Did I say Jupiter?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I meant Saturn. I'm sorry.
Who was Saturn in Greek mythology? Let's see who that was. Cronus. Oh, so Cronus was in Roman myth. Saturn was identified with the Greek Kronos, and Cronus was like Kronos, right? He was like, wasn't he one of the Titans or something like that?
You mean Thanos?
That's Thanos is a that's Avengers shit, dude. We're trying to be real, real life. We're talking about real stories in mythology.
Isn't that an oxymoron?
That's why I said it.
Yeah, that's kind of redundant.
Saturn was a god in ancient Roman religion. He was described as no, he was a god of time, generation, dissolution, abundance, wealth, agriculture, periodic renewal, and liberation. So maybe the all the draconians and the reptilians, they just want to free us from ourselves, so they're going to use Saturn to do that.
Yeah, David Icke is cool as shit, though, man. I mean, some of his stuff is pretty out there, but then it's like always in the back of my head, I'm thinking, well, what if he's right? You know,
Have you ever listened to like Vinny Paz or anything?
Vinny Paz from Jedi Mind Tricks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know a lot about Vinny
Have you ever
Paz.
heard of the song End of Days?
But I'm sure I have. I've heard almost all of their
He
stuff.
has an intro from David Icke in that.
Okay, I do know the song you're talking
It's
about.
like
Yeah.
what we're struggling against now is mass hypnosis.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that's David Icke that's talking in that, or it's one of those David Icke or one of the. I think it's David Icke. I'm pretty sure. I
Yeah,
don't.
David Icke, I first discovered him through Alex Jones.
That's where I first heard him too. Was back then, and he was on. Wasn't he on Coast to Coast AM and shit too?
I think, man, he's gotten around. We discovered the later David Icke, but back when he was popping, dude, he got around.
Oh yeah, he was. Let me see. Uh, End of Days intro. That's what I want to see. Yeah, that's it. He says, it's David Icke. It is. I had to confirm that, dude. The greatest form of control is where you think you're free when you're being fundamentally manipulated and dictated to. One form of dictatorship is being in a prison cell and you can see the bars and touch them. The other one is sitting in a prison cell, but you can't see the bar. You think you're free. What the human race is now suffering from is mass hypnosis. We are being hypnotized by people like this: newsreaders, politicians, teachers, lecturers. We are in a country and in a world that is being run by unbelievably sick people. The chasm between what we're being told is going on and what is really going on is absolutely enormous. That's the same shit I've said week to week on this podcast. So, I mean, that's where he hits the nail on the head. But when he starts talking about fucking Saturn and shit and reptilians, that's where he kind of loses me. And I
So are you
believe in aliens, but
Are you blowing off the Saturn moon matrix?
I'm gonna continue to read into it and see what I can find. It's just it's so hard to find information on. Like
It
Google
is.
wasn't giving me shit.
No, and you know what? I discovered it through watching that anonymous channel I was telling you about, and it wasn't like titled Saturn Moon Matrix. Like it had a different title, but it was an explanation of the Saturn Moon Matrix. Have you ever noticed that there's certain times where like you're in a funk for the week, but then it seems like a lot of people that you talk to, they're also in a funk too. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
That's what the Saturn moon matrix is kind of all about. Like they're able to manipulate us through, I guess it's radio waves or frequency waves or whatever through Saturn, and it goes into more in depth. Like I've done such a shitty job at explaining it because all I'm going by is just bits and pieces of it that I can remember. But what I saw was pretty interesting. If I find the video, we'll post it on the Facebook page.
Couldn't some of that be like the natural order though, like the natural waves, like because there's natural, or could it be us, like with the 5G towers, with the 3G, like with all this shit, all these electric wires that we're surrounded by? We're the brotherhood of the electric church. We're the kids who touched electric. That's the thing that I got. Like this is all artificial.
Well, but it goes hand in hand with the hive mind theory too. You know what I mean? Like whatever they're doing could be creating a hive mind society.
But couldn't that all be like part of us being part of the same universe, all being made up of atoms, and like on the fundamental, like we're all space dust. We're all just atoms that are put together. And then when we die, we're released and then we find another being. Like it's all part of the atoms. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like that's what I get into some weird hippie shit that I read sometimes too. Like, but I mean, what if that is like some truth to it? Like everything is matter and energy, and even a black hole is energy, or the absence of energy, that it sucks it needs that energy to keep it alive, so it just sucks all the energy out of everything. But
Yeah,
I mean, that
that was funny. You came over. You recognized my Ram Dass book, man. Be here now.
is that what's in that mainly?
Yeah, it's a little. Yeah, it's a lot about stuff like that. Yeah.
Because I mean, I see like a lot of these conclusions. It's weird because I come to them myself a lot of times too. Like I start thinking in this weird shit. And it's normally like if I eat mushrooms or if I get way too high, or, if I'm drunk and high, or I fucking rip a dab, or something like that. And I'm just like gone in outer space. And I start thinking of like all this weird shit. And you can almost feel that, like when you're tripping on mushrooms or something like that, you can almost feel the atoms in your body.
Yeah. So Timothy Leary calls that somatic level of frequency where like you're almost at one with nature. So it's like you're not quite tripping, you're not on a full-on electrified trip, but it's like your heightened senses, you know what I mean? You feel the vibrations around you. Music creates vibrations, so yeah, he referred to it as somatic, like a somatic level of frequency, like I said.
And that's what I was getting, like, even so vibrations, talking about sound vibration, light is just a vibration. Even it's all vibrations and energy. It's a vibration is energy. I hit this table and my camera shakes. The light, the heat, and the energy from the sun creates a wave. It's a light wave, not a sound wave, but they're really the only thing that's different is the way the waves are formed.
Right.
I'm sure somewhere out there, if you can create enough sound, you can create light out of that sound. I mean, it would take a massive amount of energy to do it, but it seemingly is possible, right?
Yeah,
Like if you think about it, it's why wouldn't it be? So
exactly.
we get on some deep fucking topics, dude.
Yeah, welcome to the electric church.
It's born out of psychedelics and it's going to live on through psychedelics.
It's going to live on through the psychedelic culture that we live in now, the new 60s.
If you're blind to this shit, I mean, I feel like people just, it's kind of what they said though. Like people are just, they're so ignorant to it that you're not going to change. It's what I said, the first quote. You're not going to change anything that challenges your beliefs.
Right.
And you're not going to do something like eating mushrooms that challenges your beliefs, because that does, it makes you, there's times that it's uncomfortable, and it forces you to deal with issues in yourself that maybe you put off, and you lose control of your psyche, and something else, the subconscious kind of takes over.
You sound like fucking Terrence McKenna right now.
Dude, it's awesome. I tell everybody all the time, like, have you done mushrooms? And they'll say no. I'll be like, you need to at least once in your life. Just do it. And I'm afraid. Why are you afraid? Like, what are you like? The only thing you're afraid of is yourself, right? Because what else are you going to do? You're not going to overdose. You're not. The only thing you're afraid of is your own mind. Why would? And that's where my head starts. Like, why should I be afraid of myself? Why should I? We're our own biggest enemies with everything.
It's a fear of losing control too.
Sometimes to get control, you got to give it up.
Ooh, damn.
I mean, it's the truth though. It's
Flip that.
I will clip that shit because it's the fucking gospel of the electric church.
You wanna pause for a smoke break and then we'll do maybe two more articles. How long have we been going?
I don't know, like an hour or so. I'll pause it right now. All right, we're back.
All right, so the next article of the evening, this is from livescience.com, and this is a very interesting one. Virgin birth recorded in crocodile for first time ever. The American crocodile had been isolated in a reptile park enclosure for 16 years when she laid a clutch of eggs. Scientists have announced the first ever recorded case of a virgin birth after a female that had been isolated for 16 years. This is everything I just said. This is the real article. Was discovered with a clutch of eggs. The discovery provides tantalizing insights into the evolutionary origins of the trait, potentially shedding light on the reproductive capability of dinosaurs, a new study finds. The American crocodile was taken into captivity in 2002 when she was 2 years old and placed in an enclosure at the Park Reptiliandia in Costa Rica. She remained alone for the next 16 years, but in January 2018, a clutch of 14 eggs was found in the enclosure. So she had never had sex, never been with another crocodile. She'd been isolated for 16 years and she laid eggs. What do you think of this one?
Can they lay, like, does a chicken have to be
Well, that
like,
goes back to the whole what came first, the chicken or the egg?
yeah, I mean, so were they fertilized? Like, that's the whole thing. Like, there's no evidence that this is the same story, but it's from CNN. No chance that she had consorted with male crocodiles. There's clear evidence presented for the first time in paper published. Crocodiles are capable of a type of reproduction called pathogenesis, in which unfertilized eggs can yield offspring. That's weird. So were the eggs, that's my whole question about the whole thing is, were the eggs fertilized? Because I mean, if so, we have Jesus H Croc out there just roaming, fucking healing sick crocodiles and shit. And this is the Mother Mary. That's kind of, it means discovery of a virgin birth in a crocodile means FP has now been found in both birds and crocodilian. So I guess they mean lizards. Because isn't a crocodile a lizard?
It is a reptile.
Yeah. So I mean, you got reptiles, like people don't really understand that birds are like reptiles essentially with feathers.
Right.
That's why
And
everything tastes like chicken.
yeah, and they think that the dinosaurs at one time actually had feathers and not scales now. Like there's a
Yeah.
lot of controversy about that.
Like, I mean, a rooster is a fucking T-Rex.
Yeah, and a raptor, a rooster is a raptor. A bird is a raptor, actually. Like if you ever see the way a bird, perches, looks around and everything. A velociraptor did the same thing, they think.
And think about like an ostrich, a modern day fucking velociraptor, dude. Maybe the mouse not quite as big, but I mean everything shrunk. Like even humans, like everything was bigger back then because the predators weren't, And who knows what the gravity of the Earth was? Like there's a lot of variables. Why was everything so big? But why did
Right.
everything die out too? I seen a meme yesterday. It was great. It was like, uh, oh yeah, it was God sitting in space, and he's holding a shotgun to the Earth, and it said, "Damn, or those damn dinosaurs can't build churches or something." So he was ready to like, he's holding the asteroid gun because they can't. And I was like, I was gonna comment on it and be like, it's not so much that they can't build churches; they can't build pastors' houses like Joel Osteen and shit.
Yeah, and I know all those guys are just freaking corrupt.
Creflo Dollar and
Creflo Dollar, yeah, he's an asshole.
so I mean, but I don't know. It is interesting. Like crocodiles, I don't know. I'm kind of into like I don't like them. Like I don't want one as a pet, like lizards or anything. My wife's kind of into them, but I just think they're fucking weird. Like they look weird, they act weird, they can't heat up their own blood. It's just they're strange animals. And also Lake Placid didn't help. That movie fucking terrified me when I was a kid.
I know, and I love that movie, man. That was such a good flick.
Who's it? It's that one actor. He's the sheriff. He plays in the Harry Potter movie too. I think
Oh
that's
yeah, who is that guy? I know who you're talking about. I always get that one mixed up with Dante's Peak. Dante's Peak was fucking Pierce Brosnan.
I thought it was Meatloaf for a second because Meatloaf kind of looked like him when he got older.
Yeah,
It might even have been Meatloaf, and I might be blaming this English guy because I mean Meatloaf started doing some movies because he was in that movie Patrick Swayze, the Black Dog movie.
Black Dog. That was a great movie, man.
Dude, I used to want to be a fucking truck driver because of that movie. The way
That was a great.
they always just man they dramatize that shit so good. It's like the motherfucker shifted gears about 25 times. It's like it's only 18 gears in that or 20 or whatever gears there is. It's like why did he shift 52 times?
Yeah, what kind of fucking truck was that?
It's like a 9mm, like in John Wick. Like they just never reload their 9mm. Like or like they do it when it's dramatic. Like they run out of bullets and they're being surrounded. That's the only fucking time they run out of bullets. So like the rest of the
Yeah.
time, it's unlimited ammo, bitch. We got fucking cheat codes.
Did you like Randy Travis and Black Dog?
Yeah, yeah, I did. That was dude, it was an awesome movie. Randy Travis. I forgot he was in it too.
Yeah, there's
He was
somebody
he was the
else.
singer and it had it wasn't Ice Cube, but the dude reminded me of Ice Cube, the black guy.
Oh, oh, I gotta look that up, dude. Look at it.
Black Dog actors, if I can spell right.
Patrick Swayze, Randy Travis, Meatloaf, Gabrielle
Cassius.
Casillas.
Something like Cassius Cassius. I don't know.
The cover looks like a total ripoff of Heat. Remember, not Heat. What was the one? Speed.
That
Remember,
or Face Off, yeah. Like
or
they all
Face Off? Yeah,
those are those 90 action movies. Like they
yeah.
all start looking and it's the same with the 80s actions too. Like all the Schwarzenegger and Stallones and all that, they all look the same.
All the '80s action films.
Like I think I got Face Off and something else confused. I can't remember the movie, but it was because Face Off was like that was Nicolas Cage and John Travolta, right? They switch faces or something.
Yeah,
The premise of those movies is so fucking janky too. It like it doesn't hold up, but it's like we still watch them.
it's
Dude, I
still
watched
awesome.
what was it? A Steven Seagal movie the other day. I can't remember what the fuck it was though. Now that I think of it,
Under Siege.
it was probably one of those. Those are horrible movies, but man, they're so entertaining. You can't like you realize when you're. It just came on like the free TV channels, like
Yeah.
on the smart TVs, and I got hooked into it. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing watching this? It's so bad.
You know what was the beauty of Steven Seagal back then? The fucking Aikido motherfucker. Dude, the motherfucker knew the Aikido.
I love when like Joe Rogan, he hasn't trashed him recently about it. Like I heard him talking he used to trash the shit out of it. He's like, it's a fake martial arts. But
Yeah.
now like there was a more recent podcast and he was talking, he's like, no, that's legitimate. Like they could fuck you up, but
You know, there's an Aikido club in Frederick.
Jesus, I don't doubt it. It's the dude wearing a shirt like mine driving a white Tesla that goes to it.
I'm not kidding you. I'm dead serious. There is.
I believe it. I believe it. Aikido. But I mean, yeah, all those and that's the thing, like Seagal wasn't the biggest of the action stars, I don't think.
No.
So his were like extra corny. Or
He
like
was like a he was like a B action star back then compared to Stallone, Schwarzenegger,
Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson. Yeah.
You ever seen Bird on a Wire or whatever? Bird in a Cage, Bird on a Wire
Yeah, I've seen Bird on a
with
Wire.
it's Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn.
Yeah.
That was a good fucking movie too. It's talking about 80s movies. Like we weren't even born. Like we were born in the but that's the thing people like kids today don't realize it because they get a new season of everything every year.
Yeah.
It's like we were stuck on like 1960s through 1980s reruns for the first 10 years of our lives.
And true or false, when it came to movies back in the day, you watched that fucking movie over and over and over and over. You know what I mean?
And it sucked when that VCR would eat that tape, dude. You'd be like, shit, that was my favorite movie. And those VHS, like we think that DVDs and Blu-rays are so expensive. I was looking at like an old catalog where a VCR costs like $600.
Oh my God.
And like a VHS, like a home video, they were like 30 or $40, dude.
Really?
And like we bitch about like a $20 Blu-ray
Yeah.
or like a 10. That's where they're getting us now, those subscriptions, dude. They get you
Yep.
on everything. I've got a fucking million of them.
But that's the thing, though. I mean, back then it was nothing for us to buy, and I don't want to say it was nothing, but when you would buy a movie, you knew you were going to be paying 15, $20 for that movie, okay? Nowadays, it's a little bit different. I mean, HBO Max has a shitload of movies. You're paying what, $15 a month for that? And you're look at the access you have to movies. So I gotta say, I do like the streaming sites a lot better than you know, having a full collection of fucking Twin Peaks or whatever. Who gives a
Yeah.
shit, you know?
But the thing is, like about that sucks. It's like, well, and this is first world problems. I mean, we'll sit there and look at that screen of HBO Max of thousands of different genres and everything you can imagine, and we'll say there's nothing to watch.
Still won't find anything to watch.
It's like
That is such a first
it
world.
took the remote out of our fucking hand. Where like the old channel surfers, like
Yeah.
you just sit there and you watch 5 minutes of something, and like now it's just like you can't even watch the first 5 minutes of it. You just have to. You're constantly looking. It's like fuck. You spent 2 hours looking for something to watch, and it's time to
Yeah.
go to bed. And you're like, God damn it.
You're exactly right. By the time it's all said and done, you don't even have time to sit down and watch a full movie or an episode or two of whatever you want to watch.
That's why I just play video games anymore. It's like I can entertain myself with that.
You can casually ingest media.
Yeah, I can shit talk 12-year-olds online.
Well, you let's do a follow up to a news article we covered a few weeks ago. So I don't know if you remember the 5,000 mile seaweed blob that was heading towards the Gulf Coast. You remember that?
I do. I do.
All
Update.
right. So apparently it has hit land.
Where is
Uh,
it? What news site are you using?
I'm on the Guardian.com.
Clumps of five. Is it
Yeah.
from June 3rd?
Yep.
Okay. I just want to make sure that I'm not showing it because we're gonna post this to the page, to the Facebook page, so you guys can look for yourself. It looks janky whenever I do the screen sharing. I don't care for it. And if we're talking about it, I can't clip it if we do say something good. So just so you guys, that's your little background glimpse into my mind. So we're gonna post that shit.
So the clump of 5,000 mile seaweed blob actually is now bringing flesh-eating bacteria to Florida. It might have been one of Alfred Hitchcock's fanciful tales of the supernatural. A 5,000 mile blob of murky seaweed creeping menacingly across the Atlantic before dumping itself along the U.S. shoreline. But now the giant clumps of the 13 meter ton Morass labeled the Great Atlantic Sargassum Belt are washing up on Florida's beaches. Scientists are warning of a real life threat of piles of decomposing algae, namely high levels of the flesh-eating vibrobacteria lurking in the vegetation. The alarming discovery by marine biologists at Florida Atlantic University lends a dangerous new aspect to the brown seaweed onslaught, which is already threatening to spoil the state's busy summer tourism season as coatings of the decaying goop exude a pungent aroma akin to that of rotting eggs.
Well, they already said that. Like I remember them saying that it stunk before, but when I see these things, I'm almost like, did they know? And they just didn't say anything. You know what I'm saying? That's just the little faith that I have in government is astounding. It's just like, did someone know that this wasn't going to be good? So
You
it's like
knew, yeah, there was scientists and researchers that knew exactly what was going to happen.
that, or is it like that movie that was on Netflix? I can't remember the name of it, but it's like the sky is falling or something like that. Or
Oh, with Leonardo DiCaprio.
yeah, where all that everybody's just like, he's not serious. He's fucking stupid.
It was called Don't Look Up, I think.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's just like no one believes him, and then it's like, oh, it's here.
And he just went nuts because he was so frustrated with everybody's lack of doing anything about it.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think that that's probably very realistic? We're so encapsulated with like movie stars and Kim Kardashian and Kanye West and Donald Trump's hearing and all this that an asteroid could legitimately be heading this way, and NASA's like, hey, we should look up, like look at this asteroid, and we're just gonna be like, oh my god, did you see what they played on the Queer Eye for the Straight Guy yesterday?
No, I fucking love Kim Kardashian.
But it's like it's astounding. Like the real people like me and you are gonna be like, what the fuck is going on? We're gonna be like in the show. That's what's the scary part too. Like all this post-apocalyptic shit, the blob, the flesh-eating seaweed, all this shit. Like I don't know, even like more realistic shit like North Korea and an EMP attack or something. Like we're the people that have listened to this, and what sucks is I'm not like a prepper by any standard, but I'm gonna be a little more prepared just because I have an idea of what it is. And it's going to be like us that are like, hey, we need to rally the community. But there's going to be people that are just trying to take. I'm going to be the
Yeah.
guy that goes to the sheets. Like, if I turn on, if the power goes out and my phone doesn't turn on and my car doesn't start, I'm going to sheets. I'm going to the fucking pharmacy like within the first several hours. And I'm just walking in and taking shit.
Yeah, but you don't think you're not going to be the first one?
No, I think it's going to take like a day. Like people are going to wait for the power. They're going to wait for someone to fix their shit. And then they're going to try to find people that have shit because all the looting's like they're not going to loot until they're totally desperate. Or it's going to take some time, but like you might have some people like me that are doing it and like, hey, this is fucking real now. But I think it's going to be far and few between. Like there's still people that are going to we cling to society so hard and civilization like it's so fragile, you know. We're a generation away from going back to no electric pitchforks, everything. We don't
We're,
realize
we don't realize how dependent we are.
exactly. So I mean, of course, and I'm not even going to go for painkillers and shit, dude. I'm going to go to the pharmacy and I'm going to take antibiotics because people don't realize that's like a cut on your finger killed you 100 years ago. You know, a rotted tooth, an earache could kill you. You know, all these things, and we have these exotics like AIDS and diabetes and all that shit. That shit's gonna go away, and it's gonna be like, or well, I mean, syphilis and all that's still gonna be around, but even syphilis can kill you or drive you crazy.
It's going to be just a completely new form of currency. Paper money won't mean anything. Currency will be, medication, like you said, bullets, shoes, gas.
Coffee.
There'll be no such thing as, financial currency anymore. It'll be barters.
There'll be coffee, cigarettes, bullets, alcohol.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Bur-
that's the thing about, and I always forget about that. I say the pharmacy the first, but I mean the liquor store too, because in the old days, a lot of times alcohol served as it was like a double thing. It was an antiseptic. It helped with a lot of illnesses, like as far as infections are concerned, because it kills out or uh bacteria and shit.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you get drunk and you pour some in your cut.
Oh yeah, fucking what's it called? Everclear, that pure grain, man. That they can use that to power certain motors. It's so pure.
Yeah. So I mean, and the seaweed thing, it's I don't. That's what makes me think of shit. Like it's almost like post-apocalyptic. Like, and
Yeah.
then you think about the people that like just sat there and were like, it's not a big deal, or people that didn't like. I'm sure there are people that even live on the coast, like in Florida, that don't know about it, or they don't know about it until now because now it's an issue. It's like COVID. Well, I was talking about COVID in November of 2019, and no one else. I'm like, that shit's gonna get crazy. I'm like, you remember I sent you the article? It was like December or something, where there was a lab leak in Wuhan, and it
Yeah.
was like for some kind of virus. They didn't know what it was, but it wasn't on anybody's radar. I sent it to you and a couple other people, and I'm like, we probably keep our eyes on this.
I didn't believe it at all.
And then, bam! Look at what I mean. I don't know. You probably do. You're a conspiracy kind of guy, though. Like you know, but a lot of people are like, I showed a guy that I worked at my old job that I worked with, and he's like, it's not a big deal. It happens all the time. It's like, yeah, okay.
We'll see. All right, and my last article is it can't be a UBEC podcast without a little bit of drug news, right?
Yes, I do.
And it's been weeks since we record a podcast. So for this week's drug news, this is from the insider.com. Ukraine soldiers have wondered if Russians advancing into certain death in Bakhmut were on drugs. Here are 5 surprising times troops have used performance enhancing drugs during war. And this is going to go through a pretty short list, and I think it's kind of interesting. We'll go through it here. A couple captions from this article. Ukraine soldiers have wondered if Russians advancing on Bakhmut may be on drugs. No evidence has emerged to show that Russia is giving drugs to soldiers, but performance enhancing drugs use has been prevalent among troops from different countries since at least World War One. The first one of the first side articles that it says here, British stores sold syringes of heroin as gifts to send to troops during World War One. Number 2, the Nazis gave meth to their soldiers during World War II to give them a boost. Number 3, Russians gave its frontline soldiers rations of vodka during World War II. Uh, I think this is number 4. The U.S. military gave troops speed and painkillers during the Vietnam War. And last but not least, number 5, the U.S. allows Native Americans in the military to use peyote.
Yeah, because it's religious or whatever. I'm gonna share like, I don't know if you noticed this, but I am gonna share the screen just for 1 second, and I want to share this image. Doesn't that look like something you'd see in a fucking Call of Duty game? Like it looks like Reznov standing there, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it does. What is that?
For the glory of Mother Russia. Well,
Freedom!
it was from the article. It's like the image for the article. Apparently, it's a real picture. It's Ukrainian servicemen are seen along the front line south of Bakhmut, the town of Toretsk, Ukraine.
Well, why wouldn't they be on drugs? It's a war torn country. Neither side is happy about what's going on. What do? You go to drugs, you go to alcohol. You want to escape your situation. You want to escape the darkness, the despair.
Or even to stay alive. Like, I mean, it's like you said, and like I was telling you, the pharmacist the other day, she thought I was fucking being funny, but it's like the Germans like their amphetamines, you know? It was a joke, but it was like, and maybe that's why she thought it was funny. Maybe she did understand like World War II, Hitler, the Nazis, and amphetamines and shit. But it's like you want that edge that's going to keep you alive also, or win the war. Like, and I think at that point, it doesn't even matter. Like, country starts to fade when you're at war for so long. It's not about your country. It's not about Russia or Ukraine. It's about the person beside you and you
Right.
and your team members, and it's keeping your unit alive. It's not, you give a fuck less about the USA and Vietnam when you're deep in the jungle surrounded by Viet Cong, you know.
Mhm.
You were looking out for your brother, and those wars are shams anyway. We didn't fight any of those for freedom or anything, and that's, I don't know. That's an opinion, I guess. I think a lot
Well,
of veterans hold that same opinion about Vietnam, Iraq, Afghanistan, all that shit. It's
they were
why
all
were we in those?
proxy wars.
Well, they were all proxy wars fought by prostitutes of profit.
Yeah,
It's people just looking. It's drug money, oil money, money. Or we wanted to control the straits, the South China. That's we're seeing that now with Taiwan and China. We want to control that portion, or have it be more of a ambivalent. Like they want that to be on our side.
right.
So I don't
But
know, but yeah, I mean, I they probably are on drugs. Ukrainians are on drugs too. I mean,
yeah, they say that there's speculation that Zelensky is like a massive cokehead, like out of his mind, blitzed coke.
he's also a genocidal dictator, but you can't say that anymore because Ukraine is the purest country in Europe.
Right.
They're not one of the most corrupt countries in the world, let alone Europe. But we can't say that he's a dictator. They're closing the church. A huge popular, a huge portion of their population is Russian. You know, how long were they part of the USSR? And before then, when the lines were blurred, it was Russia. It was Russian territory. So and you're closing like their one like Orthodox church. That's affecting your citizens too. I don't like the guy. And they blatantly have a Nazi regiment of their like an SS division pretty much in their military. But you can't speak on any of that. You know, you're anti-freedom then. What? What? That's like the whole Russian thing too. It's like it's funny to me because I was researching. My wife, she used to work for some Australians. What he was Russian though too. Like, and I was like, I always hear like Russian sounding last names of Australians and shit. So I did some research there. It's like there's a huge immigration for migration from Russia to like Australia and shit.
Really?
Yeah. It was like in the 18th century or 17th or 19th century or so. Russian immigration. I just want to make sure that because I remember reading it.
Well, wasn't Australia a penal?
That's
Uh,
how it started for the United Kingdom. Uh, The first Russian settler to arrive in Australia came in 1804 as a convict. However, there were relatively minimal Russian migration until the late 18th and early 19th century. Major waves of Russian arrivals then coincided with key political periods, like the Bolshevik Revolution, the Anastasia, the whole when they got rid of the czars and all that.
yeah.
So, but I just thought it was interesting because Russia is, I think, and there's this guy Peter Zihan. Have you listened to him?
No, I haven't.
He talks about like geopolitics and shit a lot, and he's talking about like Russia is pretty much a generation away from pretty much being done. They didn't have enough children. They fight these wars, and in these wars, they kill all their young people. Like they fight wars to the end. They did it even they would have fought to the last dying Russian against Hitler. And he's talking like China's the same way that they made a huge mistake implementing the one child policy in China because it's so destabilizing to a nation for a generation only to have one child because who replenishes that
Stock.
workforce and everything. I mean, it can collapse your country. I mean, what happens to the military, the factories? So he said China's and everybody says that China's going to dominate the United States. And he said they're not because they can't because in 20 years China's going to collapse and the same's happening with Russia. Russia's been facing population collapse. He said that's why they're fighting the war in Ukraine is to get more population. It's like that's why you see this huge push by Putin to kind of reclaim the USSR. It's really interesting. He's got some YouTube videos, so I guess I'll endorse him, even though he doesn't know who the fuck we are. But like Peter Zihan, if you guys listening want to hear some interesting information about geopolitics, check him out. You should check him out too yourself. It's really
Yeah,
interesting shit, and he
I
does it in
will.
a way it's like it's informational but entertaining. He's kind of cool guy.
I'll check it out, man. I've never heard of him, but it sounds cool. It sounds right up my alleyway.
Yeah, he was on Rogan a couple months ago too. That's where I heard from him, and then I started watching his shit, and I was like, "Damn, this dude's fucking awesome."
Okay, hell yeah.
But yeah, I think we close out this week's episode though. On that note, on the Russians and drugs, and
Yeah, we apologize for missing so many weeks, but as most of you know, life happens. So we came together, regrouped, and brought it back. For the two viewers out there that were wondering where we had been,
yeah,
we're back, and we're gonna get back to being consistent again. You know, all good shows, all everything good needs a break every now and again. You know, and if we're not good now, we're striving to be good. So we're human beings like everyone else.
and I mean, there's more on like because when before we took the break, it was probably the week we took the break. I was like, I want to record more, and then we don't record for 3 weeks, and it's like, okay, you just lied to your fucking teeth. But it's like, I don't know. There's other projects that are coming too. This is a UBEC Studios. This is the podcast for UBEC, but this is the studio. So if you have a podcast and you don't know, like, or you have an idea that you want to make a podcast, if you want to make a podcast, reach out, man. I can help a little bit. I can give you some pointers. If you want to be under our channel, we can help you. There's some other projects I want to do either solo if Will wants to come in. Maybe he's as a special guest. I'm sure he has some vlogging stuff he wants to do. You know, there's going to be different areas. It's not just going to be the UBEC podcast either. So we're definitely we're working on content all the time. Um, you know, I live stream on Twitch. I want to get into more of a political show so I can kind of vent my frustrations out there rather than kind of beating it down here. Um, so you know, there's different avenues, and we're looking to grow this, and we can't do it without you guys. So how Will said in the beginning, you know, thank you. We appreciate all 10 of you or two or however many. You know, it's a slow build, and I think what we've done has been pretty, it's all been organic. I haven't paid for anything, and we have about 70, 80 viewers on YouTube, subscribers. And it's all through organic, you know, word of mouth and just posting stuff. And so we're definitely looking to get back on the horn, and we appreciate everything, all the support from you guys, even the hate. We love the comments. Like, just keep comments coming.
Yeah, and for those of you that want to get involved with us, and we post the videos, long format videos on YouTube, but most of the time our Facebook page is where everything goes long. You know, the meme, the shit posting, you know, what's coming up, what we have, you know, merchandise. So if you like what you see on our YouTube, go like our Facebook page because we do a lot more on there as well.
Yep. If you want to see the articles, we're going to post the articles there. That's why, like I said, I didn't screen share them just because it takes away when we're talking. And I got to say, Will stops talking about the article, and I'm still sitting here like an idiot trying to figure out how to screen share, even though we're, you know, 20 episodes in almost, you know. So I figured it's just easier to post them. We'll say, hey, you know, here, this is the episodes. So look for the episodes on Facebook or the news articles on Facebook, and just many, you know, if we talked about a topic, we try to keep it, the memes and shit, kind of relevant to that episode. So definitely be
Yeah.
on the lookout. But I'm signing off, the Unholy Apostle, Dick Rocket, signing off.
Peace.